Hey coaches, Thomas here from MyCoach AI, and a quick video today on how you can optimally help your clients track their habits with MyCoach AI. And I even mean things that fall a little bit outside of the super traditional health and nutrition and fitness stuff, such as water intake and steps. Of course, we have those covered, but I mean also things that fall a little bit outside of that. If your client wants to, stick to reading 5 pages of a book per day and they want to make that a habit, you can absolutely help them with that with the tools inside of MyCoach AI. And that's because we have custom metrics. So you can completely create new metrics, which are the items that you use to track anything and everything with clients. And you can completely customly make those on what they track, but also the way they track it, the input, whether it's text, number, everything like that. And so I want to show you a quick example on how you can support clients with tracking their habits. Now, again, right, we have some standards. If I go to my global settings here, we have a default client settings piece that is called the default recurring schedule, which are things that may be across the board habits that you want your clients to track, right? Maybe 10K steps or water intake. These type of things we can implement here, whether they are on a daily or weekly basis, and even assign them to all clients to make sure that those things get tracked. But the example I want to give today is a little bit more specific for a specific client. Maybe, and let's take that example of the pages of a book read, if you want to just help a certain client who you know has that goal, track that inside of MyCoach AI, it can be extremely supportive for them and allow you to even be more customized and personalized. So let's say our client John has indicated on their check-in with us or their onboarding maybe even that is really a priority for him. He wants to make sure that he reads a certain amount of pages of a book each day. And you can help him implement that inside of MyCoach AI by going to his specific profile. That is where we are at right now, and go and define his specific recurring schedule. So this is the recurring schedule that we can use to build habits specifically for John here, not any other clients, as opposed to the global settings, which I just showed. So if we go to the recurring schedule here and say this is something he absolutely wants to make sure he hits all weekdays, and the weekends maybe not so much, but we select every single weekday, and this is when it's going to recur indefinitely. We then scroll down until we find the recurring progress metric. Once again, this is the tool that we use for any habit tracking. Okay. Then I already have a metric made of pages read, and it's going to record a number in pages. Now, we have a lot of other videos showing you how to customly make metrics. Feel free to go and find those. Super easy to do. You simply type in the type that you're going to be tracking, any notes to it, and then of course the type of input that it is. In this case, it's going to be a number in pages. So we add this to the recurring schedule for Monday through Friday. And we see on the schedule, when we go now to John, that those pages read are indeed part of the schedule. And this happens indefinitely. Unless you remove it, this is going to stay on there. Okay, super convenient. So we have now instilled that habit for John to track, and he is going to be able to input day by day and check off on the schedule the amount of pages of the book he read. So if we go to the client side here, we can immediately see that metric in action when we see here record progress, pages read, and the client clicks on it to input a certain number of pages. It's a great way to keep track of the habits because it tracks all of these numbers, even graphs it out. Now, keep in mind though, I do want you to know that clients themselves too can add things like this completely independent of you actually scheduling it. So this is a great way if you want to instill it for your client to their schedule and help them out in that way. But if you want to just tell your client how to do it on their own, you can absolutely do that. When they go to the plus button in the bottom right of their app and press add activity, they now have the ability to look up any metrics. So if you have just created that metric, pages read, they can simply select it whenever they do want to record that number, hopefully daily, click on it and do the exact same thing, but without you actually scheduling it in. So those are two different ways. You can either install it for your client into their schedule very, very easily and quickly, or you can explain to the client how they can do so on their own. But the important thing to note here is that besides, maybe the steps that we have every client do and their water intake that they may be tracking, if you want to support certain clients with certain habits that are important for them, it can be really anything. It is that easy to implement. And you can make as many custom metrics as you like to support you in doing so. Again, pictures, photos, videos, number inputs, text inputs, everything of the sort. Just make sure that you properly make the metric and how you want your client to track it, and you can support them with their habits in that way. It can be a massive value add, super easy to do, and I'm sure they will appreciate it. So that's how to do it. I hope that helped, and I'll see you in the next video.